it's not going to be a meteor that takes out the power grid. It's going to be China. CISA has already warned that Typhoon is fully embedded into our power grid and our nation's water infrastructure. China is not waiting for World War III. They are positioning themselves now. And not only are they already lying in wait within our power grid and our water infrastructure, nearly all of the equipment needed to repair the grid and the water comes from China. Transformers, sensors, inverters, pumps, you name it, it's probably got made in China sticker on it. When we sent our manufacturing over to China, we didn't just lose American jobs and destroy American towns. We sent away a chunk of our national security. The only thing we can do at this point is just to prepare for the inevitable. It's not if it will happen, it's a matter of when. And when it does happen, our society will begin to collapse within 72 hours. You can at least work to have the basics, like food. My rule of thumb is 6 months. This will get me through the coldest months of the year until I can get my garden growing and actually producing. But it's also not a lot of food to where it's just gonna go bad before we can get to it. It's always also a good idea to have MRE type food put back for like extreme emergencies, but for just the basics, I would say 3 months at minimum, 6 months is best. And you need at least 2 different ways to cook that food. So if you've noticed, there's probably been smoke coming into the camera. I've got a cast iron skillet going on my fire right here beside me. So you need something like a fire pit and a cast iron skillet to be able to cook without power or electricity. But there's also other ways. There's electric plug-ins, and you can have a little power bank that will run it. There's butane stoves, little propane stoves. Hell, even just a gas grill is better than having nothing. You just want to make sure that you have plenty of fuel no matter what you choose. So wood stacked up, propane, gas, you want to just make sure that you have enough of that to get you through until hopefully they get the power turned back on. Water, we can only survive 3 days without water, even less if it's super hot. So if you're in the city, how are you going to get water if the infrastructure is attacked, poisoned, either turned off or poisoned, something along those lines? If you're in a rural area and have a well, how are you going to get it to pump out if the grid's down? Our well is a 240 volt pump, and our well is ran completely off of our solar system. So in another video, if that's something that you're interested in, I can show you exactly how we have that set up, because it is a normal well pump. It's not a solar well pump. It is a normal well pump, and we've got it hooked up to our EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra. And that's an expensive option. I'm not even gonna lie, that was super expensive. So if you can't pump it out of your well, or you're unable to get it from the city, what if you have to go to a creek or a river to pull it out? Do you have ways to filter it? Do you have ways to boil it? Do you have ways to send it through one of those like life straw type deals? Do you have all that ready to go? Even just keeping bleach at the house is better than nothing. Is there a public spring nearby? We have 2, one that's really close and one that's like a good 30 minutes drive. But that is fresh, 100% drinkable water coming straight out of the ground, in our case the mountains. And so that doesn't need to be filtered. So do you have something like that that you can go buy that's on public land, that you can go buy and fill up a couple of jugs of water each day, or make a big thing? Like, I don't think we have one over here, but we have those IBC totes, and you can even throw that on the back of a trailer, take it to a spring, or pump it out of a creek or a river, and then bring you back 300 gallons of water. Just things to think about. But for the basics, I would say you need at least 2 gallons of water per person per day. Warmth. There's not a whole lot you can do in the summertime to stay cool, other than have air conditioning, or maybe even like a pool or some sort of water that you can get in. Air conditioning takes a lot of power. But in the wintertime, you can stay warm without any sort of electricity. There's indoor safe propane heaters. We prefer the brand Mr. Heater. We have like the smaller setup that we used to use when we tent camped, or if like the power went out when we were on grid, we would use those to heat up a room. Chris is currently installing a Mr. Heater 30,000 BTU propane heater into our tiny home. So we'll do a review and a video of that once it gets really going and we can test out how well it works. But even then, you still need propane. Wood stoves, if you're able to. We do plan on putting a wood stove in the tiny home, though I don't think it's going to be this year. I really hope so, but it's not looking too good. but wood stoves are probably your number one best option because you can always go out and get wood in most areas. Sleeping bags, any good high quality sleeping bag. Wool blankets are another good one. I've had a hard time finding actual wool blankets. They're mostly like mixed with plastics or other fibers that they're not wool blankets. The best place that I have found them would be the Army Navy stores. So any of your military surplus stores usually carry pretty decent wool blankets. And if you can find vintage ones, even better. Hell, just having a tent. Say the power were to go out, it's, 0 degrees outside. You set up a tent inside your house. That's the little area that you need to heat up instead of a big living room or bedroom. You can just worry about heating up that little bitty area. So if you had a buddy heater, a couple of sleeping bags, you could heat up that tent no problem. Power. If it's a short-term attack on our grid and our government's able to get the grid back up, you probably won't have to worry about this. But if you have some sort of medical condition or some sort of medical device that requires you to have power, that should probably be your number one prep. They do make large battery banks now that you can recharge on the solar. The technology for that's really grown over the past decade, and the prices are fairly reasonable, but they can still be a huge chunk of change. There's also generators. They make dual fuel or tri-fuel generators. So the tri-fuel would run off of natural gas, propane, or gasoline. And I always recommend at least getting the dual fuel, which would be propane and gasoline, so you have your options open. So both the generators, the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra, and the Jackery systems can be directly plumbed in, that's not the right word, but they can be made to where they go directly into your breaker box. And so you flip a switch, cuts the grid off, and then you're just running off of that battery bank or your generator. And if you really want to up your off-grid game or your like power outage game, that would be definitely the route to go. So food, water, warmth, and power. These are the 4 basic things that I cannot stress enough how much each household needs to really be focusing on these next couple of months, weeks even, and really get geared up for what's ahead. Whether it's a comet, a solar flare, civil war, World War III, the time to start is now. When shit hits the fan, you don't want to be one of those people at the grocery stores fighting in a line or fighting in a line at a gas pump to fill up your gas tanks. The safest place to be should be your home. Stay prepared, stay free. I love y'all, and we'll see you in the next one.